Okay, traders, before I get into the watch list for Monday, January 22nd, a quick reminder that our course is coming up this weekend. 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, January 27th, 28th, probably about 7 hours each day. I got to tell you, I'm really excited for this course this weekend. I have not had a red day since Halloween, October 31st, until this Thursday, and I was red Thursday, which erased all of Wednesday's gains. And then on Friday, I was red again. So I strung together 2 red days. I only lost like $80 on Friday. Basically, as a day trader, I call that a flat day, but it was, it was red nonetheless. So the reason I'm excited for this course is because every time we do a live course, I always trade better afterwards because everything we teach, it refreshes it in my brain too. And so then I show up after the course with all of the trading rules and all of the A+ setups, and all firmly entrenched in my brain again. And then before I'll take a trade, it's just fresh in my head that is this an A+ setup? Does this entry make sense? And so on. So I always trade better after teaching the course, and we hear the same thing obviously from our students. So I'm in a mini slump. 2 days since Halloween, 2 red days since Halloween, but they're both back to back. So it's a great time. And Wayne and I were working on adding slides this weekend, and even just putting some slides together from recent setups and so on already makes me feel better about trading on Monday. So it's kind of proof that we do need to continuously study, and we need to refresh ourselves. Wayne still reads his trading rules every morning before the open, which I find impressive. But there's merit to that. You obviously need to stay up on and constantly remind yourself how important it is following your rules and making sure you only take A+ setups and so on. So really, really looking forward to the course, and I actually need it myself. So hope to see you all there. It'll be Saturday and Sunday. There is a link if you're not signed up. There's a link in the description to this video for our holiday special price on it as well. The SPY, I talked about this little kind of 3-day flag here at 280, and with the threat of a government shutdown looming, we still hit new all-time highs. So very, very impressive strength in the market. Here's what I'm going to be watching on Monday. IPCI, big volume spike, and I don't know. I was hoping this would close over $1. It didn't, but it's still nicely above last 2 months worth of trading on big volume. So we'll see if we get some kind of follow-through day tomorrow. RCON had a huge move, then looked like it was going to fill the gap, then another kind of secondary decent move. So for me now, the last few days we're in a range, right? We're from 350 to whatever the lowest was, 230. I think this is worth watching unless it just completely falls apart. A lot of times these things go into ranges, and after a red day you can get a nice green day. So it goes on watch for tomorrow. Remember, I'm a day trader. I'm only looking for stuff to make me money. Tomorrow I will be in cash by the closing bell, as I always am every night. Seed had this big pop, then an inside day, and then really almost no volume, did next to nothing on Friday. And I'd like to see it come in a little bit, but I still think it's worth watching. Again, it's not a very clean setup, but it's one that might get going. CHFS, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see this massive move here. Then you had a nice volume spike here about, 2 weeks ago? And then another volume spike, almost as big a volume on Friday. Not a very strong close, though. It went as high as 434, closing at 389. So I'm not in love with it, but you know what? That little volume spike on Friday is enough to put it on my radar. NBEV, I toiled over whether to put this on watch going into Friday, and I ended up not putting it on the watch list. And it actually had the gap up, 4 days lower, then another gap up, closing red. And I was watching it trade on Thursday, and it just didn't trade well at all, and then on Friday it took off. I never found an entry. There were several people in chat traded some of these flags, like this long flag here. I think that was traded in chat and so on. This one as well. I was mentioning it and showing status, but I never did take a trade in it. And now after the close, we've got a nice volume day and a pretty strong close, closing above the 200-day. The whole number 4 might come into play on Monday. It's extended, but I still think it's worth watching. Kind of disappointed in myself for not catching a trade in it on Friday. ORPN, I'm not in love with this one. It had this huge move. I guess this would have been Wednesday that completely round tripped. But just the fact that it can go from 263 to $6 on an intraday basis, and then again on Friday it went from 247 to 444 on an intraday basis, closing right at the whole number 3. Big volume both of those days. I think it deserves to be on watch just because of that action. NCTY was on bounce watch going into Friday. No setup in it, no trade, but just another red day. We're getting closer to the 8-day, closer to the last bounce area right here. It just goes back on bounce watch. Icon, ICON, massive volume on Thursday, and then kind of a quiet inside day on Friday. Sometimes you get a third day play there. I think that one's worth watching. CVO, big pop here, and then again here, massive volume on Wednesday. Then a couple lower days on declining volume on Thursday and Friday. It's pretty good setup for a turn back up. That one goes on watch. And then lastly, SPI. It's kind of a weird chart, but you had the gap up, then a gap down, then a gap up, and then pretty much a flat, boring day on Friday. But with this kind of action and all this volume, I do think, you can see each day ends red, like it closes above its open. So shorts are winning these days. But this is a good, how do I word this? It's kind of a good-looking chart if it can catch a bid on an intraday basis. You've got potential catalyst of a break of Friday's high, which would be over 123, and then Thursday's high over 140, and then you had this high here at 159. So this is kind of the fingerprint, if you will, of stacked catalysts that you hear me talk about. So if this one could, say, trade in a narrow range on Monday and then start to break out of its range, you've got 1, 2, 3 potential catalysts to really squeeze this thing. So, and again, with sellers winning each of these days over the past 4 sessions, to me, there might be some confident shorts that are going to have to cover at this rip. So this is kind of one of those sleeper plays that I think might be worth watching and might possibly rip for us. All right, so going into Monday, keep in mind we're getting into earnings season. You guys know, if you watch my videos, I live in the realm of the low price, low float stocks because you can get nice percentage moves, right? 10, 20, 30, 50, 100% moves in an hour on some of these. And so that's what I populate my charts with proper setups, and then only take them if I can get them at an inflection point where they should, rip right away. So to me, that's where my equity curve comes from, and that's how you can make pretty good money in a short period of time. Having said that, during the thick of earnings season, these stocks that I love, generally, as a general rule, there are no absolutes in trading, but as a general rule, they don't do as well. They don't follow through as well. So it's important to keep that in mind, that we're in the middle of earnings season. And I think what happens is just some of the money flows into the earnings plays. So we'll also be looking at a lot of those setups in chat as well. All right, I'm going to quit babbling. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see everybody on Monday.